Back at you with another lesson. First of all, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Kodash, that belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, teaching all truth and sincerity. This is going to be Daniel 8 breakdown. Daniel 8 breakdown. So, let's start at 3, verse 3. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before a river a ram. And that ram is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, which had 2 horns. And those horns are Cyrus and Darius. Cyrus was the king of the Medes, and Darius was the king of Persia. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other. And the higher came up last, and Darius came up higher than Cyrus. So Darius was the higher horn. Four, I saw the ram pushing eastward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, because the Medo-Persian Empire was a strong empire during that time. And Cyrus conquered Media, Egypt, and Lydia. The 3 ribs that are spoken of in Daniel 2. But he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat, and that he-goat is talking about Alexander the Great, came from the west, who was the king of Greece, the king of Greece. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat, which is Alexander the Great, had a notable horn between his eyes. Notable horn between his eyes. So that horn is talking about Alexander the Great. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns. That ram is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, and the 2 horns is talking about Cyrus, the king of Media, and Darius, the king of Persia, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in fury of his power, because the Alexander the Great took down the Medo-Persian Empire. Alexander the Great was king of Greece, the Greek Empire. And after Alexander died, he died in 12 years. He had 4 generals that ruled after him. 7, and I saw him close unto the ram, and he was moved closer against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns, because Alexander the Great took down the Medo-Persian Empire. Alexander the Great was king of Greece, the Greek Empire, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore, the he-goat, which is Alexander the Great, the king of Greece, the Greek Empire, therefore the he-goat, Alexander the Great, the goat is Alexander the Great, waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. So Alexander the Great died after he died after 12 years. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones. So those 4 horns, those 4 notable ones that came up after Alexander the Great was his 4 generals. Lysimachus, Cassander, and you had 2 other generals. And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn. And out of one of them came a little horn. So it's still talking about the 4 generals, but it's getting into Antiochus Epiphanes, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. And those stars are talking about the Israelites, because the Israelites were Hellenized. Israelites were Hellenized during the Greek Empire. We were Hellenized, following the heathenistic customs of the heathen. 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. So this is talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, because Antiochus Epiphanes set up an idol in the temple in Jerusalem and desecrated the temple during the time of the Greek Empire, which is spoken of in Matthew, I believe Matthew 24. Yahushua spoke of the abomination of desolation. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So that's what Antiochus Epiphanes did during the Greek Empire, whenever we were Hellenized during the Greek Empire. He set up an idol in a temple in Jerusalem. And he also passed laws and decrees contrary to the laws of Israel, that we should worship false gods. And the Greeks also killed our women for circumcising our sons, which is a law, and also killed us, killed the Israelites for not eating pig, which is unlawful. 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. So this is still talking about the this is still talking about Antiochus Epiphanes, um, and how he set up an idol in the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD, and um, how the Greeks Hellenized the Israelites uh, during the Greek Empire. So that's all I wanted to bring up. Next time I say shalom.